right, so in this assignment, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to calculate this points per game over here. But in order to get that calculation, what we need to know is how many 3-pointers, 2-pointers, and free throws they actually made. And the stats that are here, they show their percentage and they show their attempts, but they don't show how many they actually made, which is what we need to figure out in order to be able to calculate their points per game. So what we're going to do is we're going to use their number of attempts and then their percentage in order to figure out how many free throws they were actually making. And then we'll have to figure out by the number of games they played, how many of those averaged out to. So we're going to insert a new column for this new bit of data. And we're going to call this free throws made, or FTM. And to calculate this, we're just going to go equals this times this. So the percent of free throws that they made times the number of free throws that they attempted. Okay. And it's suggesting to autofill this, which wonderful. We can do that, or you can copy the equation down. So we're going to do that. And so what you end up seeing is that there's decimals here. And we don't want those decimals. So there's two ways you can get rid of the decimals, but we're going to do it a more difficult way, and I'll explain why. So you could just move the decimal place over at the top here until you get down to a solid number, because nobody can make 0.003 of a free throw. So just the math, the way it works out, because this number is rounded, the percent is rounded, therefore the number you're getting isn't exact. So if we just knock the decimal place down, it's going to round it to this nearest number. The problem is that even though it's showing this as a whole number, it's actually still, if I go back, it's still just the decimal place there. So if we do any math on this, it's also going to do the math with the real number, not just what we're seeing there. So we need to get rid of those decimal places permanently, so that we have a more accurate answer in the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert another column. And I'm going to use an equation called MRound. So I'm going to go equals, and then I'll start typing in MRound. And then I click on the cell that I want to round. And then I put comma, and then I put the number of decimals, the number of places I want to round it to, and we're going to round it just to the whole number 1 to a whole number. So we're going to use 1. If we wanted to round to the nearest 10, I would use something different there, but we're going to round it to the nearest 1, nearest whole number. So we're going to use that 1. And if we wanted to round it to the nearest, say, 10th of a point, we would use 0.1, but we just want to use 1. So I'll bracket, okay. And so you see now it rounds all those. And again, let's go with that autofill. Just wonderful. And now I'm going to knock those decimals back. Even though there's no decimals there, it's still, for some reason, showing it in 3 decimals. But it's rounded it to the nearest whole number. So I'm just going to knock those decimals back like that. And now what I want to do is I want to get rid of these numbers because I want it to be the whole numbers. So I'm going to copy and paste them, because I also want to get rid of that equation. And we talked about that already. So right now, this is an equation. If I remove this information, the information that generates the equation will be gone. So we have to do what we did in the past, and that is to copy this. And then we're just going to paste this over top of this as paste special. And we're just going to paste the values only. That gets rid of the equation, and it gets rid of our decimal place. And then, again, we'll just knock this back, our decimals, delete this column. And then we need to put our name back in here, free throws made. Okay. And so now we have the first one done. So we're going to do the same thing for the 2-point and the 3 points. So we're going to do that right now. I'll go through and do the exact same thing for this. So we'll speed through this. it in that as it should be 3 points made, and I kept trying to change it to a time rather than a actual thing for 3 points. So anyways, I got that fixed now by changing it. If it happens to you, you can go up under here and just change it to plain text rather than time, which is what it was trying to show it as. All right, so now I've got all these calculations done. I've got my 2-point, look at the same thing there, 2 pointers. I didn't even notice. Got to get rid of that. Yeah, see, it's doing the same thing. So I'm going to go plain text and then get rid of that. There we go. Didn't even notice that when it did that. All right, so now we're going to calculate our points per game. So I'm going to get you to put in your equation for this, see if you can figure it out and get it correct. So the equation has to take into account that 3 pointers are worth 3, that 2 pointers are worth 2 points, and that free throws are worth 1 point. So you got to figure that this is worth 1, add this to this is worth 2 points, add this to this, which is worth 3 points, and then you got to divide that all by the number of games that were played, because this will show their total points for the year. And then you've got to divide that by the total number of games, which would say how many points they would get per game as an average. So see if you can figure out that equation on your own. Hopefully you can. Good luck with that. And then we'll go over the actual equation when we go over it in class. All right.